Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to another one of Bybit Web3's live stream. And today we're very excited to bring with you something that we have been talking about for a while right now, and which is BTC staking. So as you know, we have a lot of narratives surrounding BTC recently, and of course this year has been a big year for BTC, right? Which is why I think there's no better time than to get together with prominent partners within the BTC-Fi space and to come up with a casual discussion, right, about how BTC has entered its next stage in its evolution. So I think the breakthrough is here, and the whole BTC game has changed, right? So I think without further ado, I want to also invite our speakers today as well for today's BTC live stream. So I think our first we have Lombard, right? We have Kev, which is the senior product manager of Lombard, right? Hey Kev. Sorry, I think Kev, we can't really hear you that well. Could you try again? All right, no worries, Kev. I'll circle back to you later again. Okay. Can we have Gigi as well? So we're inviting Gigi from Babylon as well, who's the chain ecosystem lead. Hi, Gigi.
Hey guys, can you hear me well?
Yep. It's all good.
Cool. Hi everyone, this is Gigi from Babylon. I'm chain ecosystem lead, and running. With our chain running live soon, I'm really excited to share what we have on Babylon, on Bitcoin staking, and the collaboration with Lombard and everyone else here.
Great. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Gigi. And our third speaker for today is from Veda, which is AJ, head of BD. Hi, AJ.
Hey, Marcus, Gigi. Great to be here. Yeah, I lead BD at Veda. We power over 3 billion in deposits across structured yield products in DeFi. Lombard and Babylon are close partners of ours, so we've worked together closely in the Lombard DeFi Vault, which I'm sure we'll get into later in the stream. But I'm excited to be here with Bybit at Web3 as well.
Sounds good. We're happy to have you as well, AJ. So I think as Kev is settling his technical issues, I would also like to introduce my co-host as well. Apologies. Shadi as well. Can we bring Shadi on board?
Hello, how's it going?
Hey Shadi. I think for some of you who, Shadi. I think for some of you who have been watching our live streams, Shadi has been a constant in many other live streams as well. So he's really knowledgeable, not just in Web3, but also in other Bybit exchange products as well as other live streams. So good to have you on board, Shadi.
Good to be
here. Great. So I think Kev is still logging in, so no worries. When he's back, we can introduce him again. So I would like to also just share as well, the whole purpose of this live stream, right? As I mentioned, Bitcoin's financial layer, it has evolved beyond just hodling, staking, restaking, right? And then there's also new BTC native yield strategies that are taking center stage, right? The whole purpose of this live stream, of course, is to have a really casual discussion, right, for new users and existing users, right, to bring together, the sharpest minds within the whole Bitcoin ecosystem, including Lombard, Babylon, and Veda, to have an exclusive live stream, right, to bring you the exclusive products, campaigns that we're gonna have, the future of BTC-Fi, and any alpha insights, right? I think that's the whole point of why you just want to listen in as well. Any alpha from you guys as well, any upcoming products in the roadmap that you guys want to share as well, feel free to do so. And I think Kev is still not in. No worries. Okay, so we just move on first. So before I begin, today's topics and agenda, I would also like to highlight for users who are currently with us right now that we actually have a live stream giveaway, as with all other live streams, right? So we always give out giveaways for all our live streams, right? To appreciate you guys for always listening in. So we have 2 rounds this time around, 2 rounds of red packet giveaways that will be happening today. The first round, well, of course, first round will be for all users, and second round will be for new users, right? So what is the perk, right? you're able to win a 5 USDT spot trading coupon to fuel your next trade, right? So as I mentioned, there are 2 rounds. First round for all users. So what is the requirements, right? So for the first round, all users would have all users with who trade at least 100 USDT within 7 days will be eligible to win for a 5 USDT spot trading coupon. And then in the second round, right, new users, right, this is for new users, they must register within 3 days, before the live stream date, in order to win this 5 USDT spot trading coupon. So, fun fact for those who already registered before the live stream date, you are eligible for this spot trading coupon. And not everyone will receive it. Both rounds would only 50 users will be eligible for both rounds, right? And I see that Kev is with us back again. Hey, Kev. So we have Kev as well from Lombard. He's the senior product manager in Lombard. Hey, Kev.
Hey, everyone. How's the second try? Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Awesome. Sorry for the inconvenience. But yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me. And really excited to talk about all the things the organizations here are doing in the BTC-Fi space.
Yep, great. Thank you, Kev. Glad to have you back. Okay, so we can move on to the actual discussion. I think we don't want to take up too much of your time as well. So I think the first part, right, you want to set the stage, right, by talking about how BTC has come, right? I think it has been a long time coming that everyone knew that BTC was kind of restricted, in its ways where you can probably only hold BTC or purchase BTC and use it as a store of value, right? But right now with the resurgence of BTC-Fi, we are seeing a kind of a surge in TVL, right? I think BTC-Fi in total now accounts for around 8 billion, right, in on-chain value. So I think Babylon has around like 5 billion, staked, and then Lombard already has like around 2 billion, and then Veda has already over 1 billion in BTC assets within its vaults, right? So I think these numbers are definitely prove something, right? So I think we want to understand why is BTC Fi booming? Like what's the push? Why is this trend? It has always been there, but why is it coming around or booming right now? So I think I'll just open this to the floor, right? I think maybe you can start with Gigi. If you want to take this question as well.
Sure, of course. So a bit background about myself. I've been contributing to the space ever since 2018, started with Bitcoin mining. So on the miner side, things were like kind of boring. Every 4 years we have the halving, and then things were to like go crazy again. So we kind of see that around the last 4 years and counting. But something on the Bitcoin space that has been like just really underappreciated is like a lot of the core development has been happening. For example, like Taproot upgrades, enabling Shino signature, all that was like really gone unnoticed, but that has been like the core technical push, what makes Babylon really what we would be able to do today as the self-custodial Bitcoin staking protocol. None of that could have happened unless these pushes have been gone through. So that's on the technical side, but also on a more macro trend, I would say the Bitcoin ETF definitely helped like crazy on adopting mindshare, both in institution and retail wise. Coming both from the US and being based in Hong Kong here, we have various ETF gone through, and that just has been like non-stop discussion on like, so what could we do about Bitcoin? Just like 5 minutes ago, I have this like TradFi friends asking like, so should I buy Bitcoin now again? I was like, yeah, sure. So definitely all that has been contributing to the mindset and to more adoption. And then once your Bitcoin comes into your wallet, you'll start thinking about, so what should I be doing with it? and then depending on like what's your risk exposure, there's the exchange if you want to go on, if you go on Bybit and trade and all, and then if you just want like the more lower risk profile, then go on with Babylon, where you earned yield on top of your Bitcoin. So there's like various options here, and with Lombard and Veda, I'll let them speak, but there's so much more users could be doing with their Bitcoin nowadays. It's just like a whole new world now.
Yeah. Thanks, Yuji, for mentioning it. I think it's an interesting point that you made regarding the ETFs, right? I think that really opened up, a huge portion of retail and institutional users, right? Which kind of opens up the question, right? Like with what's next, right? We already solved that initial part of onboarding, right? We allow more users to obtain BTC right now through the ETF, right? What's next for these users, right? Which I think presents itself really well to Kev. I think maybe we move on to your question on your side about the BTC Fi and its recent trends.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Gigi hit on some absolutely wonderful points there. For me, it all comes down to the infrastructure maturity of Bitcoin. If you think about it, you know what I mean? Like when this industry first really popped off, right, with Bitcoin in 2008, over the course of the next 3 to 4 years, like people and companies tried to build on Bitcoin. It just didn't work. It wasn't scalable, right? I mean, if you think about like colored coins and some of the other projects that tried to build on Bitcoin, all of that activity had to move elsewhere. So of course, Ethereum comes along and DeFi starts popping. There's nothing that you can really do to build on Bitcoin, but then you have, absolute pioneers in the space like Babylon that come into play here and allow that economic, say, security of Bitcoin to really just completely change the game. And I think that that's been a massive contributor to the growth of just Bitcoin, DeFi in general. And then with that, it's like, okay, now that I know that, Bitcoin can be used for economic security when it comes to, some of the Bitcoin secured networks of Babylon, it's like, okay, but what else can we do, right? Like, how can we make that Bitcoin more usable? And that's obviously where Lombard comes into play. So I guess for just some context, Lombard's a BTC LST built within the Babylon ecosystem. And what we enable users to do is stake BTC within Lombard, and what they get in return is LBTC, which stands for liquid Bitcoin. And that is a yield-bearing liquid BTC primitive, always backed 1-to-1 with BTC. And with that, BTC's utility just completely unlocks. And I think that this has been a big contributor as well to the growth of BTC Fi, because now users can bring LBTC into all the major chains, whether it's Ethereum, Sui, Base, BNB, soon to be Solana. They can lend it, they can borrow it, they can restake it on all the major DeFi protocols out there, like Morpho, Aave, Gauntlet, etc. Or they can bring that LBTC into a great vault powered by someone like Veda, right? So it's like the utility of Bitcoin is increasingly growing, and that's due to all three parties here: Babylon, Lombard, and Veda. So over the course of time, we're expecting this to just grow, right? Like as more Bitcoin secured networks go into Babylon and more users see that they can bring their BTC into DeFi while maintaining control over it, this is only going to continue to grow. And I think really this is just the beginning. We're at a tipping point here, and it's only going to increase.
Yeah, thanks, Kev. Really, really good point that you mentioned there. Of course, everyone knows that BTC is probably the largest asset right now. I think an interesting point that you made was that our BTC, right, expands beyond just EVM chains, right, potentially also to Solana, right? I think then that opens up multiple different DeFi projects that a user can participate with LBTC on EVM and non-EVM chains, right? So users have a lot to choose from, right? I think it's gonna be probably hundreds of protocols, right? I think that's where the beauty of also Veda comes in, right? Where they can have vault management strategies, in specific chains, in different protocols, be it lending, borrowing, or be it just staking, whichever DeFi liquidity providing, which I think that's where Veda comes in really well. So I'll probably give the time to AJ as well to explain this more.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Marcus. Piggybacking off Kevin and Gigi, I agree that the new infra around like Babylon staking, Lombard's LST, and Veda vaults have really enabled BTC to be productive for the first time at scale. And BTC holders want that native yield. It's not just something that is in the Ethereum ecosystem anymore. Momentum is shifting across to other chains. And for context, like Veda's whole thesis is that we build consumer grade yield products for asset issuers, chains, and DeFi protocols. And to get this technology into the hands of consumer and institutions globally, it's our view that it needs to be curated. So we offer one-click strategies, and on the back of what Kev said, we take the LBTC across DeFi into the best risk-adjusted yield opportunities. Accessing some of the most prominent names in DeFi, whether that's Nave or a Morpho or a Pendle, and I'm excited to see as Babylon turns on the yield, how we continue to develop these yield solutions and make it more of a productive asset as well.
Yeah, good point, AJ. So I think I think what everyone has mentioned here, without one or the other, this wouldn't have been possible, right? I think it's really a combined effort from start to finish, right? From BTC staking, and to expanding beyond just the BTC network to multiple EVM chains, and of course consolidating the best yields, the best strategies within different chains into a specific vault, right? So it's a whole process. I think it's also a good time to also ask ourselves, previously, how has people's mindset changed from the past and now, in terms of BTC's role, right? Because we have seen this, of course, all these things are pushed by demand. So maybe I'll open this to the floor. Anyone can answer. Why do you think people's minds have changed, or what has changed in how people are thinking about BTC's role right now? So I think I'll open up to anyone who would like to take this question. Anyone would like to answer this? Gigi, maybe?
Yeah, of course. From my end, coming from China, it's actually quite interesting to see, especially with the tax war going on. China and Russia has been going under using BTC as the currency to trade. So that's to handle how the US has been going against us on that. But so on a country level, that has been a change of mindset. So we're seeing a lot more of these country-wise for them to be starting to adopt Bitcoins. And more of that is going to come in our announcement within Babylon and various partners of that, how we onboard more of these users. But then on the other end, if we're talking about retails here, which I think is a really interesting crowd to look at, I actually had just a few minutes ago, friends asking so did I miss airdrop for Babylon? What should I be doing now? You really should be watching more of your asset yourself. But then if you just can't constantly update on what your status is with these gold-like assets that's sitting in your wallet, you might as well be going through Veda and Lombard and having these professional people to be dealing with for you, instead of you looking after your own gold per se. So definitely mindset changing there. With different options here now in the market, people could definitely play around more interesting strategy nowadays.
Yeah, thanks, Gigi. I think you mentioned a good point as well. I have friends also who, upon Bitcoin reaching 100K, then of course everyone was like, oh, it's possible. They didn't think it was possible. Back then when Bitcoin was around 20K. I remember those are just a few years back, right? When Bitcoin was just 20K. I think right now it's already hit the 6-digit number. And then what's next for Bitcoin? I think that's when more retail people are asking. And then we see demand of institutions, ETFs, in certain countries as well, as you mentioned, Gigi. So I think a really good point there, as you mentioned, about how mindset has changed. And I think AJ also wanted to mention something, right, AJ?
Yeah, I think one thing about the BTC holder base is that they're quite sticky. They don't really want to sell BTC, much like digital gold, as we all know. And I think BTC is undergoing now the same transformation that ETH did, maybe 2 to 3 years ago. It's becoming more composable. tools like Babylon and Lombard unlock staking and liquidity layers, and then Veda's there to turn that capital into actual real yield for the end user. So I guess BTC is scaling into DeFi with the benefit of hindsight as well, having learned from what's going on in the EVM ecosystem. And we're definitely taking those lessons on board and trying to avoid some of the janky early tooling and going straight into this sort of production grade infrastructure. And it's been pleasantly surprising to see how many ecosystems have wanted to adopt this on the back of that. Like many teams, new chains coming up, they really want LBTC to be there, for instance, and it's an exciting opportunity to support that from a cross-chain vault perspective as well.
Yeah, I think good point mentioned as well, and also as you mentioned, right, like BTC kind of has already certified itself as a stable asset, right? Or rather, it's really widely recognized as a a store of value, as an asset that people want to hold, not just retailers and institutions, as compared to other altcoins, as compared to other other coins as well, which I think it is a
Okay, I guess we'll just continue the conversation. Marcus, still continuing?
I'm
Okay.
back. Can you hear me? Yeah, Kev, do you have any pointers for this question? Would you like to add on?
Yeah, for sure. You cut out there towards the end, but I definitely have some thoughts on this. I think when it comes to innovation, it starts with regulation, right? And it's for years there have been so many different, say, institutions or just young, hungry, eager developers that want to build in this space, but they've been limited to do so because they don't know what is possible and what's not. And that's obviously changed, at least in certain areas, specifically the US with the new administration. And what this brings in is just clarity, right? Like, okay, I understand that I can offer my clients the ability to buy BTC, right? The Bitcoin ETF was a huge movement a little bit over a year ago, but more institutions are realizing that there's a pathway for them to allocate into Bitcoin, but it also enables new, young, hungry developers to innovate in this space. So I think that is the starting point outside of all the amazing work that, when it comes to increasing the overall performance of Bitcoin infrastructure, and then of course the utility of the asset. But I also think it's that people understand that, they can buy BTC now, they can hold it, but like what's next, right? It's like, this is the greatest store of value ever, as we know, in this space specifically, but what do we do with this now? And that's what we've seen institutions like start to ask these questions. And that's where Lombard comes into play, right? Like they want to keep Bitcoin exposure, right? But they do want some form of yield on it. And that is now possible, right? With having BTC be liquid and being brought in into numerous different chains, numerous different protocols. So I think it starts, I guess the only other thing that I would mention is regulatory clarity, not just in the US, but across the globe. And with that, the psychological shift of what Bitcoin is will continuously change as innovation continues to occur, and this asset becomes, truly composable.
Great point, Kev. I think, as you mentioned, right, institutions play a huge role, right, in pushing for the adoption of, because it's more likely that institutions will also require a, more intense compliance and, KYC and KYB, in order to be on board for this. And, I think a lot of the funds and assets are still, of course, with institutions, right? So having them on board right now and having recognized by institutions is really, really a good, shift in mindset, especially on the regulatory side. As we have seen ETFs getting approved, I think more countries are adopting ETFs. So I think these discussions are really, really good. And I would like to also move on, right, to a bit more, a slightly bit technical discussion, right? I think we covered the initial part of the background of BTC and BTC-Fi, right, and what each project has its role in. So I think maybe now we can go on to a bit more on BTC staking, right? I think it has evolved, past traditional POS models, right? I think proof of stake, is not something that has been around for many years right now, right? So with BTC staking, what is BTC staking? Sorry, I think is a question for some of our new users and also existing users to understand better as well. Maybe I can invite Gigi as well, from Babylon to briefly explain what is BTC staking and maybe a bit on how it has changed throughout the years. Yeah.
Of course. So like you mentioned, there's POS and POW, and what Babylon does is really on high level is to bring POW security to POS chains. So how user experience would go as, so for any users, if they were to go on the Babylon staking dashboard, you would input any amount that you want to stake for your Bitcoin, and then essentially it will be delegating to any of the finality provider here, what we call FP. So Lombard right now is the largest FP of all, and we have a couple of hundreds of FPs running actively for the network. So any users could feel free to run up their own finality provider as well. And if users are familiar with like how traditional or like the usual POS side would work, like for example, the ETH staking or Cosmos staking would work, is so. With staking, you're actively participating in a POS chain consensus mechanism, just like signing on active block confirmations. And that essentially is like you're working for the POS chain, and in return, you're earning yield for that economic activity that you've contributed to. But then with the traditional POS mechanism is you'll have to stake the assets of that designated chain. So be ETH, Ethereum, then you'll stake ETH for it. And then they have like a minimum of 32 ETH to stake for. So there's like quite a lot of barriers for the POS staking, and just not enough economic security underlying. And what BTC staking and what Babylon has enabled is for users to be staking with their Bitcoin assets, and to participate in the economic activity of that designated POS chain. But for users, if you were to like actively sign and just like work on those POS chains, it will be quite a headache. So that's when Lombard and others comes in to sign on your behalf, but your Bitcoin still stays in your self-custodial wallet. And what you're doing is sharing an extractable one-time signature with these FPs. So in combination with the FP, you two will be actively signing together on that POS chain, and then earning rewards from there. So that's how, on a high level, how a POS BTC staking will work. And what Babylon enables further, different from like Eigenlayer per se, is soon will also enable multi-staking, which for now, once Babylon Genesis chain goes live, we will be the first Bitcoin paying, so the BSN, Bitcoin Secure Network, and the first time BTC stakers will be seeing actual yield coming from these POS chains. But once we start on board more chains in the future, one BTC could be staked to multiple chains. So depending on your risk preference, you could be actively participating into various chains, and be earning different yields, and depending on your risk preference there. So yeah, that's about Bitcoin staking, and then more interesting liquid staking to come once Lombard comes in. So I'll leave that to Kev.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gigi. All right, Kev, you wanna go on?
Yeah, I guess I would just take it right from there. That was an absolutely wonderful job of explaining just what BTC staking is. I guess the only other thing that I would add to that before diving into liquid staking is, so currently Lombard is the highest FP, but we have just democratized that FP. So now we have 4 running, seeing as though decentralization and security is at the top of mind for Lombard. So we actually have 4 FPs now, which we're really excited about to be running in the Babylon ecosystem. But it's, per Gigi's point, obviously a great segue into what liquid staking is. And I guess the best way to describe that is just describing who Lombard is. Obviously, Babylon pioneered the space with Bitcoin staking. And what Lombard does is we provide a BTC liquid stake token through our core product, which is LBTC. So essentially what this looks like is a user goes to the Lombard app or through the SDK and they stake BTC. We auto mint them LBTC. And that is a yield-bearing liquid BTC primitive, always backed 1-to-1 to BTC. And now that BTC is no longer locked for the user. It is always exposed to BTC, but now they can bring it into DeFi. And this matters for numerous different reasons. But I mean, as we've already discussed in this session, I mean, Bitcoin's been a great store of value, but it's been underutilized. And LBTC liquid Bitcoin completely changes that because now users remain exposed to BTC. They earn the yield on the Bitcoin secured networks from Babylon. They also earn some additional Lombard points, but now they can bring it into DeFi and do what they want depending upon their risk appetite with that LBTC. So liquidity is at the core of Lombard. It's absolutely imperative for us, but also security, right? Like this is different than ETH. This is the BTC space. This is people and institutions who have held BTC in cold storage wallets or just in exchanges for a long period of time. And they need to feel comfortable. They need to feel confident and secure with bringing their BTC out to a new protocol. So that's why with Lombard securities at the top of mind for us, which is why we built out the security consortium. So all BTC transactions within Lombard, whether it's staking, minting, bridging, unstaking, whatever it may be, all of that is governed by our security consortium, which consists of 14 very high quality, very well respected brands like Galaxy, Kiln, P2P, Figment, DCG, amongst others. And they govern the system through multi-party authorization, which just means that none of the security consortium members can move the BTC or make any changes without group approval. And all of these operations are executed inside of TEEs, which stands for Trusted Execution Environments, using very, very secure AWS Nitro enclaves. And I know I kind of said a lot there, but it's important to highlight that level of security. And when it comes to security, you have to mention key management, right? And our key management layer is provided by Cubist, who we work really closely with. They ensure that all the cryptographic key handling is just running as airtight as possible, and they operate within our enclave infrastructure. So the power of a BTC LST token is you're still gaining all of the benefits of Babylon, but now you're liquid, you're composable, you can bring it into DeFi in a very safe, secure, and conservative way through Lombard. And yeah, I mean, there's roughly around 27,000 BTC staked to the Lombard FP right now, which is being democratized to the 4 other co-branded FPs that we'll be running. And LBTC is on all the major chains, as I mentioned, and all the major DeFi protocols out there. And one of the ones that's most exciting is our DeFi vault powered by Veda, which is about 10% of our TVL. So it goes to show that BTC users want that safe, secure, conservative yield, and that's what Veda offers.
Yeah, I think before I move on to AJ, right, I think it's really great summary from Gigi and Kev as well. I think I'd like to mention as well a few points here, right? Like, I think firstly is of course the ability to stake BTC and participate in securing the network activity of multiple chains, right? Not just in a single chain. I think that's something been restricted by in other POS chains with as you mentioned with ETH, you can use it on Ethereum, right? You can stake, and then the barrier of entry is high as well. But with BTC, you can potentially stake in multiple different in chains through Babylon, right? And then that opens up a plethora of like yields that you can get from all these POS staking networks. I think that itself, I think it's a game changer, right? That increases the whole value and demand of having the equivalent of maybe like 1 BTC compared to other assets as well. I think that really increases the whole attractiveness of BTC, both for retail institutions, and also I think what Kev mentioned as well, to not sacrifice security, right? As we have a huge influx of both retail and institutions, huge about millions, billions of dollars, right? And of course, this is something that cannot be. We can definitely not we have to put it as our priority, right? Security will definitely be our priority, and that's what Lombard is doing now. So with all these chains, all these different products and protocols on these different chains, there has to be a way to kind of summarize them into a convenient vault, right? And for users to just enjoy use from multiple different DeFi protocols, which is why where I think AJ from Veda, I think where Veda comes in, and I'll leave it up to AJ as well to talk briefly about what is the Lombard DeFi vault, and how do you guys play in supporting this vault?
Yeah, absolutely. So Lombard's vault, DeFi vault, is the best in class example of what BTC-Fi should look like. So if any user comes and freshly mints LBTC or goes through the Bybit wallet, then that is, that can be directly sent to the Lombard DeFi vault. From there, the vault can deploy that into DeFi to earn BTC yield through the most secure protocols. So like some examples of like the strategies we run include, stable pair liquidity provision across DEXs using the LBTC, lending on money markets through things like Aave and Morpho, yield trading on Pendle. And, I think the great thing about it is that users don't need to know what Morpho is or how Pendle works. They deposit LBTC, and behind the scenes, the capital is earning across a curated BTC denominated strategy set. So every decision from asset routing to yield source selection is handled programmatically and optimized by us, the Veda team. So the vault's all running on our infrastructure, which is, the most widely used vault architecture in DeFi at this point from a TVL and integration standpoint. And, I think the great thing is it's like we can upgrade these strategies as well. So we work closely with the Lombard team to determine, okay, like where is the best place to actually have like LBTC on chain. Obviously, we want to be in the most like safe and secure protocols, and everything is like thoroughly audited from a security standpoint before there's LBTC is deployed there. But we also strategically say like, okay, is there like a new chain or a new ecosystem where there's Bitcoin holders want exposure to, or LBTC holders want exposure to. And to date, the Lombard vault has been one of our biggest vaults in production. And excited to see where we can take it from here.
Yeah, Marcus, I think the only thing that I would add to that before you jump in is the Lombard DeFi vault is obviously powered by Veda, but it's our most used DeFi protocol. Like it's roughly around 10% of our TVL. So it goes to show that BTC users are looking for that safe, secure, conservative yield. The DeFi vault is roughly around like 225 million, I think, right now. And it's a collection of all the the blue chip safe, secure protocols like Morpho, Curve, Gauntlet. We work with the Veda team very closely. We adjust this based off of how we're seeing it's performing, and making sure that APY is attractable enough for BTC users. But that's the great part about the vault, is that it's almost just like you can consider it like its own, say like index fund, safe, secure, to make sure that users are getting that option. And then, of course, if they have more of a risk appetite, they can bring their LBTC into other protocols as well. But Veda is a great partner, and we're thrilled to have them be a part of this SDK integration within Bybit and allow Bybit users to be able to take action on it.
Yeah, thanks AJ, thanks Kev. I think those are really, really good points, especially on the point that you made. I think this whole process has made it really convenient for someone who is a BTC holder, right? As you mentioned, as a BTC holder, I wouldn't know, how do I, if let's say I would participate in 10 different protocols that offer me multiple different APYs, potentially to spend time in connecting my wallet, depositing through 10 different protocols, right? And also managing those vaults and those risks as well, right? Do I actually know, whether or not, it's secure to deposit in these vaults, in these protocols? And I think what Lombard and Veda has kind of come in to do is really to make it easier for users to summarize all the best yielding products out there for BTC all into one platform, all into one vault, right? And I believe AJ also mentioned about adjusting and optimizing the allocation of LBTC across different kinds of vaults in blue chip protocols, right? So I think, you know, this is a good opportunity, right? You know, for users, for new users as well, you know, who have been holding BTC for the longest of time, to try out in a secure and in a really convenient manner to get stable yields, right? Yeah. So I think this is really, really good. And I will also say we can also move on to an exciting aspect of the live stream. I think it's a perfect time to also share a bit of alpha and a bit of a product and campaign that we have launched with, you know, Lombard and Veda as well, right? Of course, this wouldn't have been possible without Babylon even in the first place. So perhaps I could share, you know, a bit more at the end of this live stream about what we are doing and what kind of campaigns that we're pushing out to celebrate this launch. But maybe in the first question, I'd like to also highlight, you know, for, you know, Babylon and for Kev, for GG and for Kev, right? So how does Lombard transform staked BTC into a usable asset in DeFi? I think you briefly mentioned about this just now, you know, and what role does LBTC play in this evolution? Yeah.
Sure.
Perhaps
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I can take that. So essentially, you know, as mentioned before, Babylon is pioneering the space, providing BTC economic security, in giving, you know, new POS chains the ability to leverage Bitcoin security. Where Lombard comes into play, as mentioned previously, is that you know, right now when you stake BTC into Babylon, it is locked, but you are gaining that yield on the Bitcoin secured networks. Where Lombard comes into play is that, you know, users get LBTC now, liquid Bitcoin, and by having liquid Bitcoin, LBTC, they're still earning all that yield, but now they can bring it into DeFi, into all of the major chains that we're on, and that plays a critical role. I mean, you can think about it very similar to kind of like a Lido, right, or even an eigenlayer, right, where you stake ETH, but with Lido Finance, you get a liquid version of ETH, and you can then bring it into DeFi. You can consider it kind of like the same type of approach, just with a completely different asset in BTC. So the goal here is to keep users exposed to BTC while making that BTC liquid in a safe, secure way, and then giving them opportunities to bring that LBTC into DeFi, depending upon their risk appetite. And we're seeing a lot of demand from this. Obviously, as mentioned, I mean, there's over 27,000 BTC that's staked to Lombard's finality provider. It's roughly around 22,000 LBTC in circulation. And with, you know, great partners like Veda offering great, safe, secure, conservative products, we're expecting these numbers to only increase. And obviously with Bybit users now in the wallet, we're expecting that to continue to go up as well. So liquidity means everything, and that's what we're able to provide users. But I'm sure Gigi has some thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think liquidity plus the security offering has been playing a really essential role when we start onboarding different BSN networks. So what we've seen is for these new POS chains to like ramp up, they would expect a different kind of users from their current clientele, and the BTC users really speaks for a very different retail profile here. So for them to go on to a new chain, and the BSN itself, if they were originally looking for the BTC security underlying, then they would also want that exposure to the liquidity on top of it. So really for us going to a new chain, it has been going hand in hand with Lombard and various LSC partners here to help push through just the BTC narrative for all these chains. So yeah, it's pretty exciting for everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Gigi and Kev. I think talking about, you know, BTC being a usable asset, right? I recall, you know, a Korean friend of mine, you know, who has BTC, and you know, he was really excited about, you know, the price surge and everything, and he didn't actually know that there was, you know, you can actually do this, right? You can actually do staking BTC, you know, and doing like kenchana, right, in Korean. That, you know, it's no worries, right? You know, as the value of your BTC increases, you can still earn stable yields as well. And of course, I think at that point in time, perhaps this whole narrative hasn't been propagated as widely as it is now. So I think I think this has been there's never been a better time to introduce as what Babylon mentioned, potentially multi-chain BTC staking, right? As well as also Lombard following as what Babylon is also expanding. Lombard will be expanding to also potentially these few chains, right? And also supporting LBTC not just on EVM but also on Solana non-EVM chains, right? So I think this is a really good time for users to for Bybit users as well to also participate in this whole product. Which brings me to my next point. What exactly is the product, and what campaigns are we doing to launch and to push for this adoption of BTC staking to Bybit users, right? I think the first question is really why did Bybit Web3 want to integrate Lombard's SDK? I think this was also briefly mentioned by Kev as well. I think of course we will prioritize many different things, right? I think one of them is of course the ease of integration, right? I think Lombard's SDK has really supported that. And throughout our product and tech teams, of course, it took a while, but I think throughout the process, it was pretty smooth. That's the first point. And the second point, and arguably also the most important point, is, of course, security, right? Secure, as what Kev mentioned as well with the consortium and everything. I think choosing Lombard as well was a no-brainer for us, which is why the entire process of integrating Lombard's SDK was really great. And what we have done in this case is to introduce a one-click staking for BTC holders, right? And what this means is we are combining the user journey of having to go to Lombard and to go to Veda to use your LBTC, right? So as a BTC holder, what you can do through Bybit Web3 from the product's perspective is you can deposit your BTC and immediately have your LBTC be staked in Veda's DeFi vault, right? So the whole process in the asset flow will be from BTC to LBTC and then from LBTC to LBTCV, right? So that's the end goal here, that we want to kind of make it very convenient for users, which is why we are calling promoting this as a one-click staking product to improve the user journey as compared to having to stake on both sides, right? I think perhaps maybe Kev, you want to mention a bit about the Lombard SDK as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something we're super excited about. But I guess starting from the top, should probably set some context in terms of like what the SDK actually is. I'd say, long story short, it's just an extension of the Lombard app, right? It's super lightweight. It's production ready. You can consider it basically just like an integration kit that allows any type of company, whether it's a custodian, exchange, fintech, on-ramp, mining organization, staking protocol, wallet, in this case, obviously Bybit, to attract more BTC holders, right? By enabling their clients or their users the ability to, I would say, in summary, make their Bitcoin liquid, right? Now, underneath the hood, they're staking BTC, we're auto-minting LBTC for them. The SDK still involves the security consortium, so security is still at the heart of any SDK integration. But essentially, it supports all critical operations of the Lombard application. So what Bybit users are now able to do is go to the Bybit wallet, they can stake BTC, and then underneath the hood, we auto-mint LBTC, and that LBTC is brought directly to the Bybit user's wallet. Or they have the ability to stake directly into the Veda vault, as you've mentioned. So essentially, underneath the hood, a user stakes BTC, we mint LBTC, auto deploy that LBTC into the Lombard DeFi vault, powered by Veda, obviously. So they're earning that yield. So essentially, you can deposit BTC and get LBTC, bring that LBTC into whatever DeFi protocol you wish, or you can have a direct deposit into DeFi directly into the Lombard DeFi vault. You're also able to claim your BSN token rewards, for instance, Baby, the Baby token of Babylon, and then eventually swap any of the BSN token rewards to LBTC in the future as well. So it's a great way for any type of crypto company or institution to attract more BTC users, increase TVL, increase retention, and become a true powerhouse when it comes to the BTC Fi space. And this space is only going to continue to grow as more users get very experienced with bringing their Bitcoin into DeFi.
Yeah, well, that was a really, really good summary as well. Thanks, Kev. I think I would also bring the question on to AJ as well, right? Because the integration involves both sides as well. So maybe AJ, would you like to share a bit more? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kev nailed that. But essentially, you know, if once a user comes through the Bybit wallet through the Lombard SDK, if they opt into the Lombard DeFi Vault powered by Veda, you know, they'll receive LBTCV in their Bybit wallet, which represents their LBTC shares as well as the real yield that's accrued back to their wallet, as well as any BSN rewards. I think we've touched on it already a bit, but I think the great thing about this is that it's truly one click, deposit BTC via your Bybit wallet, and, you know, we handle the rest, essentially start earning. For the end user, you know, you skip sort of bridging, yield strategy selection, NLP management, and it does enable a seamless integration for Bybit wallet, you know, custodians, fintechs, etc. As well as, you know, being audited infra with real-time monitoring and trusted by some of the top teams in the space. So yeah, I think the through line is really that the magic here is in the simplicity. Traditional DeFi requires multiple steps, you know, wrap BTC, bridge, find a vault, manage LPs, track rewards, and that's just not realistic for most users coming from Bybit. With Lombard and Veda's backend, a Bybit user can, as I said, have that one click, and behind the scenes will take your capital safely into the most advanced DeFi strategies. It's just click and earn. And I think that's the big unlock that we're bringing to users here.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanna hone in on as well is that one click simplicity, right? Like from my perspective, I come from a product background. I'm on the product side at Lombard, and in order to get users to feel comfortable with doing anything with their BTC, you have to make the user experience as simple as possible. And those were things that we considered, but not only, you know, building out the UX, the UI of Lombard, but building out the SDK. And that needs to be emphasized for any Bybit user. It's legitimately one click BTC staking, and then one click BTC staking, and then immediate earning. So they don't have to do anything crazy. They don't need to go through multiple different steps. As long as they have BTC and they're in the Bybit wallet, all they need to do is click deposit. We'll first enter how much they want to deposit, click it, and then it goes right away. So simplicity is everything. And that's what we're empowering Bybit users to be able to do here.
Yeah. Thanks, AJ. Thanks, Kev. I think that's a really, really good summary of the question. You know, I think maybe I add one last point as well. I think the whole idea is really to make it really convenient and easily accessible for users, right? Not just to only to stake, but as well as to earn the yields and the points. Which brings me to my next point is what campaigns are we doing to push this product? In fact, we are actually launching a points multiplier campaign exclusive to Bybit Web3 stakers. So in the past, you could you know, stake BTC for LBTC, right, and put LBTC in DeFi vaults, and in return you get, I think it's around 4 times Lombard Lux points, 3 times Veda points, and 1 times Babylon points. But in this exclusive campaign, you know, I think our partners have also generously offered points multiplier as well to users who stake through Bybit Web3. In this campaign, right, for a period of 1 month, users will be able to enjoy 6 times Lombard Lux points, 6 times Veda points, as well as Babylon points, 1 times Babylon points as well. And, you know, it will be the most attractive in terms of yield, in terms of points, you know, that you can find, as well as the convenience of one-click staking in terms of this adds up to the attractiveness of the product, right, across the industry, right? So I think it's a really good opportunity, especially for users who are worried about, you know, lengthy user journey, as well as not having, you know, attractive yields on your BTC. You know, I think this is a really, really good campaign for new users and existing users as well, to participate to earn additional points, as well as stable use as well through Veda's DeFi vault management strategies, right? So I think throughout the coming weeks, right, you will see much more content being pushed out about this product, and also much more updates as well. And also we welcome feedback, right, for this campaign, for this product. We are constantly trying to evolve. We're constantly trying to improve the product as well. So I think before we wrap up today's discussion, right, I would also like to just give a gentle reminder, right, about the live stream giveaway as well. I think for those users who have been with us, thank you so much for being with us so far. And so for round 1, which is for all users, it has been fully claimed. But don't worry, we still have new user red packets. And round 2, for new users, exclusive, it's still open, it's still live. It's still users still available to be eligible for round 2 of winning this spot trading coupon. So no worries on that. And I think as with every live stream, we want to enter into our last segment, which is the Q&A section here. I think we have a few interesting questions as well. So I think one of them is from Stevie, right? Which says, anyone buying any crypto asset before Bitcoin gets to 67K is a typical example of exit liquidity. I think this is probably an interesting question. I think Bitcoin's price continues to fluctuate, right? I think as a long-term BTC holder, as long as you believe in BTC, and believe in its value, I think there's also no harm putting it to good use. I mean, not disregarding the price fluctuation, right? The value of your BTC is not just in its price, but also the ability to obtain additional use, plus potential airdrops through the points multiplier, as I mentioned before previously, right? So I think I wouldn't say to get too influenced by the price fluctuation of BTC, right? And I think we have another question as well, which is a very a very direct question. What is LBTC? I think perhaps this user came in later on after Kev mentioned this. Do you wanna just give a summary and a roundup of Lombard and what LBTC is, just one more time for our existing users as well?
Absolutely. So in 2 words, LBTC is liquid Bitcoin. It's as simple as that. So essentially, Lombard is a BTC LST built within the Babylon ecosystem. And what we enable users to do is stake BTC within Lombard, and in return, they get LBTC. So that original BTC is then staked into Babylon. So a user, when you hold LBTC, you are earning BSN token rewards, you are earning Lombard points. But the real power in this is that you are now liquid and you retain your BTC exposure, but you can bring that LBTC into DeFi. And depending upon your risk appetite, you can bring it into any of the major blue chip protocols, whether it's Morpho, Gauntlet, Uniswap, Aave. And if you're a little bit more, say, risk adverse, you can deposit into the Lombard DeFi vault. So you would deposit LBTC into the vault, and you would earn, I think right now it's roughly around like 5% APY. And yeah, I mean, in 2 words, it's liquid Bitcoin. And security is at the heart of Lombard. All the transactions are secured by our security consortium. So it's a liquid Bitcoin that is safe, secure, and giving power back to the users.
Yeah, thanks, Kev. For that user, Kev just gave a really good summary. So hopefully you caught that. And also, I think due to time constraints as well, I would probably want to. There's a question here about where is BTC going to go from nothing. This question from Karim, right? So I think probably Babylon could take this question. I think you could share a bit more about your thoughts and views, and maybe give a summary. Any closing remarks from your side as well?
Really, it's not just with what BTC is going, it's the entire ecosystem, the BTC Fi. We're all just like doing whatever we can, regardless of the price fluctuation for sure, and just all heads into building. And then with Babylon launching today, I think just a lot more interesting use cases are going to come. So stay tuned if you want to be exposed to more of that interesting DeFi narrative and tools to play with.
I think Marcus is frozen, but I can alleviate the awkward silence. Today's a huge day for the BTC Fi space with Babylon launching. So I think everybody is super excited about this. And as I've mentioned, this is really only the beginning. So I think we're all really excited about what's about to occur within the BTC Fi space.
Of course.
Yeah, can you guys hear me again? All right, cool. Thanks, Kev. Thanks, Kev. Sorry, I think I dropped off a bit. Yeah, so thanks, Gigi as well for mentioning it. And yeah, today is the big day for Babylon. So I think that answers our users' questions, right? You know, and the future of BTC is with Babylon, of course, right? So if you have any, if you want to know more about what's going on with BTC from now on in its future, do check out Babylon as well. And I think last but not least as well, we have, AJ, would you like to give some, closing remarks as well for Veda?
Yeah, sure. I would just say that our core team has been building DeFi Vault products and infrastructure together for the last 3 years, and we've grown to be one of the largest and most sophisticated on-chain actors, and I think that's in large part due to great partners like the Babylon and Lombard team. And congrats on the launch today, Gigi, and excited to continue supporting both teams moving forward. If anyone has any inquiries about our Vault tech, then feel free to DM me and hit me up, and yeah, we can chat.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, AJ. I think it's a really good wrap up, and of course, congrats to Gigi, to Babylon as well, and also thankful for our partners as well. From AJ from Veda, Kev from Lombard as well, to push out this entire campaign, not just on a campaign perspective, but also the products from the product perspective as well. Ensuring that the integration is smooth through the SDK. Really appreciate you guys as well, and of course, to our audiences as well, those who have stuck with us throughout the entire live stream. I think it's we're slightly just over time of an hour, but I hope that the entire session has been really engaging and useful for you guys. And stay tuned. I think we'll definitely introduce more about the product as well as more about BTC's narrative through our 3 partners here. So thank you so much, guys, and I really do appreciate you taking your time as well, to our speakers as well coming on board this live stream, and also to our audiences who have stayed with us throughout. So thank you so much, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.